The morning sun cast long shadows across the new Terran colony as three massive ships descended from the sky. The ships were beautiful but frightening. They looked like living things made of metal and bone. The colonists had never seen anything like them. Sarah Martinez, the colony administrator, stood on the landing platform with her hands shaking. She had received the message 3 days ago. An alien empire called the Zelhari was coming. They wanted to meet humanity's strongest warrior for something called an honor duel. "Are you sure about this, Marcus?" Sarah asked the man standing beside her. Sergeant Marcus Chen nodded slowly. He was not a big man. At 32, he stood only 5 feet 8 inches tall. His brown hair was starting to show gray at the temples. Dark circles under his eyes made him look tired. His military uniform hung loose on his thin frame. "I'm the best fighter we have," Marcus said quietly. "Besides, someone has to do it." Sarah wanted to argue. Marcus looked sick. He had been getting thinner each month. But he was right. He was the most skilled fighter in the colony. The other Marines looked up to him. If anyone could represent humanity, it was Marcus Chen. The first Zelhari ship touched down with a sound like thunder. The ground shook beneath their feet. Steam hissed from the ship's sides as it settled. A door opened in the ship's hull. It looked like a mouth opening. The first alien to step out was tall and graceful. It looked like a human woman, but everything about her was wrong. She stood 7 feet tall. Her skin was pale blue. Her hair was silver and moved like water. Her eyes were large and completely black. But it was her armor that made everyone gasp. The armor was alive. It moved and breathed like a second skin. It was deep purple and seemed to pulse with its own heartbeat. Strange patterns flowed across its surface like living tattoos. The armor covered her from neck to toe, leaving only her face visible. More Zelhari warriors followed her. All were tall and pale. All wore the same living armor. They moved like dancers, each step perfect and smooth. Their weapons floated beside them, held by some invisible force. The lead Zelhari approached the human delegation. When she spoke, her voice was musical, but cold. "I am Kesara of the Zelhari Empire. I speak for the High Command." She looked at the humans with her black eyes. "We have found your species by accident. This troubles us." Sarah stepped forward. "Welcome to New Terran. I'm Administrator Martinez. We're honored by your visit." Kesara tilted her head. "Honor? You do not understand. We are not here to make friends. We are here to decide your fate." The other Zelhari spread out behind their leader. Their armor shifted and changed color. The weapons floating beside them hummed with energy. "Your species is new to us," Kesara continued. "By our ancient laws, we must test you. If you are strong, you may serve the Empire. If you are weak, you will be removed." Sarah's face went pale. "Removed?" "Destroyed," Kesara said simply. "It is the way of things. The galaxy has room only for the strong." Marcus stepped forward. His movement was quiet, but caught everyone's attention. "You want to test our strength?" Kesara looked at him for the first time. Her black eyes studied him from head to toe. What she saw made her laugh. The sound was like breaking glass. You are humanity's champion?" She turned to her warriors. They also laughed. "He is so small, so weak-looking. Are you sure this is your best?" Sarah wanted to defend Marcus, but he held up a hand. "I am Sergeant Marcus Chen, United Earth Marines. I accept your challenge." She studied Marcus again, this time more carefully. "You understand what this means? If you lose, your entire species dies." "I understand." "Very well." Kesara gestured to the central plaza of the colony. "We will fight there. The old ways demand single combat between champions." As they walked to the plaza, other colonists came out to watch. Word had spread quickly. Everyone knew what was happening. Children pressed their faces against windows. Adults whispered prayers. The plaza was a large open space in the center of the colony. It was paved with smooth stones and surrounded by buildings, perfect for a fight. Cassara stood in the center of the plaza. Her armor seemed to grow brighter in the sunlight. The living metal rippled and flowed. Marcus could see things moving beneath its surface. "Your armor is alive?" Marcus asked. "The bio-armor has been with my family for 1,000 years, Cassara said proudly. "It learns from every battle. It adapts to every weapon." Marcus nodded. He began putting on his own armor. It was simple military gear. Ceramic plates over a cloth backing. A helmet with a clear visor. Compared to the alien's living armor, it looked like a toy. "That is your protection?" Cassara seemed almost sad. "This will be over quickly." Marcus checked his sidearm. A simple projectile weapon. Nothing fancy, nothing that looked dangerous to the advanced alien. "Perhaps," Marcus said, "but we still have to try." The other Zelhari formed a circle around the plaza. Their weapons were ready but not aimed. This was a formal duel. They would not interfere. Sarah and the other colonists watched from the buildings around the plaza. Everyone was silent. The fate of humanity rested on one sick marine. Cassara's armor flowed like liquid. It covered her completely now. Even her face was hidden behind a smooth mask. Only her black eyes were visible through narrow slits. "The rules are simple." Her voice came from the armor, strangely echoing. "We fight until one of us yields or falls. The winner species claims victory." Marcus nodded. He pulled his helmet on. His hands were steady, despite everything. "Are you ready, little human?" Marcus drew his weapon, but kept it pointed at the ground. "Ready." The plaza fell silent. Even the wind seemed to stop. Two champions faced each other across the smooth stones. One wore armor that had conquered 1,000 worlds. The other wore simple metal plates and carried an ancient weapon. The fate of two species hung in the balance. Cassara moved like water flowing downhill. One moment she was 10 feet away. The next, she was right in front of Marcus. Her armored fist whistled through the air where his head had been. Marcus had rolled to the side just in time. The watching colonists gasped. The alien was so fast. Marcus looked slow and clumsy compared to her fluid movements. Marcus fired his weapon. The bullets hit Cassara's armor and bounced off like raindrops. The living metal didn't even show scratch marks. The armor seemed to absorb the impact and grow stronger. "Is that all?" Cassara's voice echoed from inside her helmet. "Your weapons are primitive. This is disappointing." She moved again. This time Marcus couldn't dodge completely. Her armored hand struck his shoulder. The blow sent him spinning across the plaza. He hit the ground hard and rolled. The other Zelhari warriors watched with bored expressions. They had seen this before. Their champion had never lost. The bio-armor made her nearly invincible. Marcus got back to his feet slowly. His shoulder ached where she had hit him. Through his helmet's visor, he studied his opponent carefully. She moved in patterns. Even her incredible speed followed rules. Cassara attacked again. This time she used both hands. Marcus ducked under the first swing and stepped aside from the second. He was learning her rhythm. "Better," Cassara admitted, "but still not good enough." Her armor began to change. The surface shifted from smooth to rough. Spikes grew from her knuckles. The bio-armor was adapting to the fight, just as she had said it would. Marcus circled her slowly. He kept his weapon ready, but didn't waste ammunition. Every shot that bounced off her armor told him something new. The armor was incredibly tough, but it wasn't perfect. Cassara lunged forward, her spiked fist aimed for Marcus's chest. The spikes scraped against his armor, leaving deep gouges in the ceramic plates. The fight continued for 10 minutes. Marcus dodged and weaved. Kesara pressed her attacks. She was faster and stronger. Her armor gave her every advantage. But Marcus was learning. Each exchange taught him something new about his opponent. She favored her right hand. She always stepped with her left foot first when changing direction. The armor made her confident, perhaps too confident. Sarah watched from a window above the plaza. Her hands were pressed against the glass. Marcus was fighting well, but he was losing. The alien was too strong, too fast. Her armor was like nothing Earth's military had ever faced. Marcus's breathing was getting heavier. Fighting in armor was exhausting, even for a trained Marine. His opponent showed no signs of tiredness. The bioarmor seemed to give her endless energy. Kesara sensed his growing fatigue. Her attacks came faster now. Marcus dodged one strike, then another, but the third caught him in the ribs. He stumbled backward. "You fight well for such a weak species," Kesara said, "but this ends now." She moved faster than ever before. Marcus couldn't keep up. Her armored fist caught him in the stomach. He doubled over, gasping for air. Another blow struck his back. He fell to his knees. The colonists watching from the buildings groaned in dismay. Their champion was down. The fight was over. Kesara stood over the fallen Marine. Her armor had changed again. Now it looked like the carapace of some giant insect, sharp and deadly, ready to deliver the finishing blow. "You fought with honor," she said. "Your death will be quick." But Marcus wasn't finished. As she raised her hand for the final strike, he rolled away. Not fast enough to escape, but fast enough to change her target. Instead of striking his head, her blow hit the plaza stones. Chips of rock flew in all directions. Marcus struggled to his feet one more time. His armor was cracked in several places. His helmet's visor had a spiderweb of cracks across it, but he was still standing. Kesara tilted her head. Impressive. Most species would have surrendered by now. "We don't surrender," Marcus said between gasps for air. "Then you will die with dignity." "I respect that," she said. She moved toward him slowly now. The fight was over, and they both knew it. Marcus had fought well, but he had no way to hurt her. Her armor had adapted to everything he tried. Marcus backed against the wall of a nearby building. There was nowhere left to run. Kesara approached like a predator closing in for the kill. "By the ancient laws of my people," Kesara said formally, "I claim victory over humanity's champion. Your species will be judged weak and removed from the galaxy." She reached out with her right hand, not to strike him, but to perform the traditional honor touch, a gentle contact that would mark the end of the duel and seal humanity's fate. Marcus couldn't move away. His back was against the wall. He was too tired to dodge. All he could do was wait. Kesara's armored finger extended toward his shoulder. The bioarmor's surface was smooth and warm. It pulsed with alien life. The finger came closer and closer. Contact. The armored finger barely touched Marcus's shoulder. Just a gentle pressure through his cracked ceramic armor. The lightest possible touch. For a moment, nothing happened. Then Kesara's armor began to change. But this time, the change was wrong. The smooth surface of her armor began to bubble and crack. The warm pulse of life became erratic. Colors shifted from healthy purple to sickly yellow. Kesara jerked her hand back as if burned. She stared at her finger in confusion. The armor around her fingertip was changing color, from purple to brown to black. "What?" she whispered. The blackness spread. It moved up her finger like spilled ink. Wherever it touched, the bioarmor began to convulse. The living metal that had protected her family for 1,000 years was dying. Kesara stumbled backward. She looked at her hand in horror as the corruption spread to her wrist, then her forearm. The armor was falling apart piece by piece. The other Zelhari warriors cried out in alarm. They had never seen anything like this. No weapon in the galaxy had ever harmed their sacred bioarmor. Marcus watched in amazement as his opponent's invincible protection crumbled away. He had barely touched her, and somehow her armor was destroying itself. Kessara fell to her knees in the center of the plaza. Half her armor was gone now, dissolved into black dust that scattered in the wind. Her pale blue skin was visible where the living metal had failed. She looked up at Marcus with her black eyes wide with terror. "What are you?" she whispered. Marcus stood against the wall, breathing heavily. He was as shocked as everyone else. The alien's armor continued to fall apart. Black pieces dropped to the ground like dead leaves. Kessara was on her knees now. Most of her chest armor was gone. Her pale blue skin showed through the gaps. The bioarmor that had protected her family for centuries was dying, and she didn't understand why. Kessara, one of the other Zelhari warriors, ran toward her. His own armor was bright and healthy. "What happened?" "I don't know," she gasped. "I barely touched him. Just a finger to his shoulder." The armor began to fail immediately. The warrior looked at Marcus with suspicion. "What weapon do you carry? What poison?" Marcus shook his head weakly. "No poison, no special weapons." He coughed, and the sound was harsh and painful. Sarah Martinez had run down from the building where she was watching. She knelt beside Marcus, checking his injuries. "Are you hurt?" "I'm fine," Marcus lied. But Sarah could see the truth. His face was pale and covered with sweat. His hands were shaking. More Zelhari warriors surrounded their fallen champion. They aimed their floating weapons at Marcus, ready to kill him for what he had done. But their leader held up a hand to stop them. "Wait," Kessara struggled to her feet. More armor fell away as she moved. "He claims he used no poison, no special weapon. I believe him." "What how?" the warrior demanded. Kessara looked at Marcus carefully, really looked at him for the first time. She saw the thin frame, the tired eyes, the pale skin. She saw how he leaned against the wall for support. "You are sick," she said suddenly. It wasn't a question. Marcus nodded slowly. There was no point in hiding it anymore. "Yes." Sarah stared at him in shock. "Marcus, you never said anything." "What difference would it make?" Marcus coughed again. The colony still needed defending. Kessara's black eyes went wide. "Show me your face. Remove the helmet." Marcus hesitated, then pulled off his cracked helmet. His brown hair was damp with sweat. Dark circles under his eyes made him look older than his 32 years. His skin had a grayish tint that spoke of serious illness. "How long?" Kessara asked quietly. 6 months, maybe less," Marcus said. "The doctors aren't sure. It's something called autoimmune cascade disorder. My body is attacking itself." The Zelhari warriors looked confused. They didn't understand human biology. But Kessara was different. She was a scientist as well as a warrior. She began to understand. "Your immune system," she whispered. "It's hyperactive." "That's one way to put it," Marcus said with a bitter smile. "My body thinks everything is an enemy, including itself." Kessara looked down at her ruined armor. The bioarmor was completely dead now. What remained was turning to dust and blowing away in the wind. "The armor tried to interface with you," she said, working through the problem. "When I touched you, it sensed your biology. It attempted to adapt, as it always does. And your immune system killed it." Kessara's voice was full of wonder and fear. "The armor couldn't adapt fast enough. Your body's defenses were too aggressive, too chaotic." Sarah didn't understand. "How is that possible?" Kessara turned to her. "Your species comes from a death world. We can see that from your biology. High gravity, dangerous environment, aggressive evolution." "Earth is our home," Sarah said defensively. "We've adapted to it." "Exactly." Kessara's voice grew stronger as she understood more. Your immune systems had to evolve to fight countless pathogens, bacteria, viruses, parasites that we can't even imagine. Your bodies are weapons. Marcus laughed, but it turned into a coughing fit. Great. I'm a weapon of mass destruction, and I'm dying. You don't understand, Cassara said urgently. All humans are like this. Your immune systems are so aggressive that they're toxic to other life forms. The Zelhari warriors looked at each other nervously. They began backing away from the humans. Sarah was starting to understand. You're saying we're dangerous to you? Extremely dangerous. My armor has survived battles with creatures that could destroy starships. It has adapted to energy weapons, projectile weapons, biological weapons, but it couldn't survive contact with a dying human's immune system. Marcus slid down the wall until he was sitting on the ground. The fight and the revelation had exhausted him. So what happens now? Do you still destroy our species? Cassara was quiet for a long moment. She looked at her dead armor, then at Marcus, then at the other humans watching from the buildings. No, she said finally. We don't destroy you. We run. What? One of her warriors stepped forward. Cassara, our laws are clear. They failed the test of combat. Did they? Cassara asked. Look at my armor. 1,000 years of victories, ended by the lightest touch from a dying man. How is that not the ultimate victory? The warrior looked confused, but he didn't defeat you in combat. He didn't even hurt you. He destroyed my armor without trying, without even knowing he could do it. Cassara's voice was full of respect and fear. What do you think would happen if we invaded their world? If millions of humans breathed on us, touched us, bled on us? The warriors looked at each other with growing alarm. They were beginning to understand. Their planet would kill us, one of them whispered. Their bodies would kill us, Cassara corrected. We found the ultimate warriors. They're so deadly they don't even know it. Marcus closed his eyes. He was very tired now. The fight and the stress were taking their toll on his failing body. Marcus, Sarah knelt beside him. Stay with us. He opened his eyes and smiled weakly. I'm not going anywhere. Not yet. Cassara approached slowly. She no longer had armor to protect her, but she wasn't afraid. She knelt down beside the dying Marine. You fought with honor, she said formally. I declare you the victor of this combat. I didn't win anything, Marcus said. I just got lucky. No, Cassara shook her head. Luck had nothing to do with it. You are what you are, a product of your world, a weapon forged by evolution itself. She stood and turned to her warriors. Send word to the fleet. We withdraw immediately. Mark this system as restricted. No Zelhari is to come within 10 light years of this place. And the humans? A warrior asked. Cassara looked back at Marcus, then at the colonists watching from their windows. The humans are the new apex predators of the galaxy. They just don't know it yet. The Zelhari medical team worked frantically in their ship's healing bay. Cassara lay on a biobed while scanners moved over her body. The alien doctors were trying to understand what had happened to her armor. Marcus lay on another bed nearby. The human colony's doctor, Elena Rodriguez, worked beside the alien medics. It was the strangest partnership she had ever imagined. His white blood cell count is incredible, Dr. Rodriguez told the Zelhari healer. 10 times normal levels. His body is producing antibodies at a rate I've never seen. The Zelhari healer, whose name was Veltar, studied the readouts with growing alarm. This is not possible. How does he survive with such aggressive immune responses? He doesn't, Dr. Rodriguez said sadly. The autoimmune cascade is killing him. His body is so busy fighting phantom enemies that it's destroying itself. Veltar looked at Marcus with a mixture of fear and respect. On any other world in the galaxy, this condition would have killed him in days. How long has he been fighting it? 2 years, Marcus said weakly from his bed. Maybe longer. The symptoms started slowly. 2 years? Veltar's voice rose in shock. Impossible. The immune responses we're measuring would kill any known species within hours. Dr. Rodriguez nodded grimly. Humans are tough. We have to be. Earth isn't a friendly place. In the next room, Cassara was finally stable. The bio-armor's death had nearly killed her, too. For 1,000 years, her family's armor had been linked to their nervous system. When it died, the feedback had almost stopped her heart. Sarah Martinez sat beside her bed. The two women had been talking for hours, sharing information about their species. "Tell me about your world," Cassara said. "What made you so dangerous?" Sarah thought for a moment. Earth has life everywhere. In the deepest oceans, inside volcanoes, in frozen wasteland. Life competes for every possible space. That explains the aggressive evolution. We have diseases that change constantly. Our immune systems have to adapt, or we die. We have parasites that can control minds, bacteria that eat flesh, viruses that hide in our DNA for years before striking. Cassara shuddered. How do children survive? Most don't, Sarah said matter-of-factly. Before modern medicine, half of all human children died before age 5. Those who lived had the strongest immune systems. You're describing a nightmare world. Sarah smiled. We call it home. We love it, actually. All that danger made us who we are. In the main ship, Cassara's second-in-command was talking to the Zelhari fleet through subspace radio. Commander Reshval was trying to explain the situation to their superiors. You're certain the armor was destroyed? The voice from the fleet was skeptical. Cassara's family armor has never failed. I saw it with my own eyes, Admiral. The armor dissolved like acid had been poured on it. And the human weapon? There was no weapon. The human simply touched her. The contact alone was enough. Long silence from the radio. Then, that's impossible. I thought so too, but the medical team confirms it. Human biology is toxic to our life forms. All humans? Reshval looked through the window at Marcus lying in the medical bay. The one who destroyed the armor is dying of immune system failure. But their doctor says all humans have similar biology, just not as extreme. Another long pause. What are your recommendations, Commander? Full retreat. Alert all Zelhari worlds to avoid human space. You're recommending we flee from one small colony? I'm recommending we flee from the most dangerous predator species we've ever encountered. Back in the medical bay, Veltar was sharing his findings with the other doctors. What he had learned terrified him. The human immune system is like nothing in our database, he told his colleagues. It has multiple layers of defense. If one layer fails, 3 more take its place. How many types of immune cells do they have? Another doctor asked. We've identified 17 different varieties so far. They work together in ways we don't understand. Some attack directly, others coordinate the assault, still others remember threats for decades. The doctors looked at each other in amazement. But that's not the worst part, Veltar continued. Their immune systems learn. Every infection makes them stronger. Every disease they survive adds to their defenses. What about their children? The children inherit immunity from their parents. Then they add their own as they grow. Each generation becomes more dangerous than the last. One of the doctors looked sick. How many humans are there? On this colony? About 5,000. No, I mean their whole species. Veltar checked his datapad. According to their records, about 12 billion on their home world alone. They're also spreading to other planets. The room fell silent. 12 billion walking biological weapons spreading across the galaxy. Dr. Rodriguez joined their conversation. Is there something wrong? She asked, noticing their worried faces. Dr. Rodriguez, Veltar said carefully, how many different diseases exist on your world? She thought for a moment. Millions. New ones evolve constantly. And humans survive among all of these threats? We don't just survive, she said proudly. We thrive. Earth's population has been growing for centuries. Veltar translated this for his colleagues. Their faces went even paler. "Doctor," one of them asked, "what happens when humans visit other worlds?" "We're very careful about contamination," Dr. Rodriguez said. "We don't want to harm local ecosystems." "No, I mean what happens to the humans? Do they get sick from alien environments?" "Oh," Dr. Rodriguez smiled. "Usually the opposite happens. Human immune systems are so aggressive that we tend to sterilize whatever we touch. It's actually a problem for scientific research." The Zelhari doctors stared at her in horror. "You sterilize environments just by being there?" "Well, yes. Our skin constantly sheds bacteria and immune cells. Our breath carries antibodies. Even our sweat is mildly toxic to most microorganisms." Veltar felt his legs go weak. "You're walking sterilization fields." "I suppose that's one way to look at it." In the command room, Reshval was getting new orders from the fleet. The admiral had made a decision. "All ships are to withdraw immediately," the voice commanded. "Set up a quarantine perimeter around the human system. Nothing gets in or out." "What about the humans, sir? They don't know how dangerous they are." "That's not our problem anymore. Our only concern is keeping them contained." Reshval looked uncomfortable. "Sir, with respect, containing them might not be possible. They're already spreading to other worlds." Static filled the radio for a moment. Then the galaxy has a serious problem. 3 days later, Marcus was still alive. The Zelhari doctors had given him medications that helped slow down his runaway immune system. It wouldn't cure him, but it gave him more time. He sat in a chair by the window of the medical bay, looking out at the Zelhari ships preparing to leave. Cassara sat beside him. She had recovered from the armor's death, but she would never be the same. Her family's 1,000-year legacy had died with a single touch. "Do you regret it?" Marcus asked quietly. "Regret what?" "Coming here, meeting us, learning what we are." Cassara thought for a long moment. No, ignorance would have been worse. Better to know the truth and avoid disaster than to stumble into it blindly. "Your people are afraid of us now." "Terrified," she corrected, "and they should be. Do you understand what you've shown us?" Marcus coughed softly. The medication helped, but his body was still failing. "That we're dangerous. That you're apex predators who don't know they're apex predators. That's the most dangerous kind." Through the window, they could see human colonists going about their daily lives. Children played in the streets, adults tended gardens, and repaired buildings. They looked so normal, so peaceful. "They have no idea," Cassara whispered. "They think they're weak because they get sick. They think they're fragile because they need protection from their own environment. Aren't we? Marcus, your species evolved on a world so hostile that just living there turned you into biological weapons. You survived by becoming more deadly than everything trying to kill you." Dr. Rodriguez entered the room with a datapad. "The test results are in," she announced. "What tests?" Marcus asked. The Zelhari doctors wanted to study samples from other colonists. With permission, of course. She sat down across from them. "The results are interesting." Cassara leaned forward. "How interesting?" "Every human tested shows the same basic immune profile as Marcus. His is just more extreme because of his illness." Dr. Rodriguez looked at the datapad. "Even our children have immune systems that would be considered hyperactive by any other species standards." "What about the elderly?" "Mrs. Patterson is 93 years old. Her immune system is still stronger than most young Zelhari warriors." Marcus laughed, then winced as it turned into a cough. "So we're all walking biological hazards?" "Apparently. Though the Zelhari doctors think it's amazing we function as well as we do. By their calculations, our immune systems should have killed us all by now." Cassara nodded. "You've adapted to live with weapons inside your own bodies. No other species has ever done that." "What happens now?" Marcus asked. Rodriguez looked out the window at the alien ships. They're leaving. All of them. They've declared our entire system off limits to their people. And the rest of the galaxy? They're sending warnings. Apparently, we're going to be classified as a hazardous species. No alien contact without extreme protective measures. Marcus felt a strange mix of pride and sadness. Humanity had won its independence, but at the cost of isolation. There's more, Dr. Rodriguez continued. They're not just warning their own people. They're telling everyone. The whole galactic community will know about us soon. That could be good or bad, Marcus said. Mostly bad, Kesara admitted. Some species will want to study you. Others will want to destroy you before you spread. A few might try to weaponize you. Great. We go from unknown to galactic threat in 3 days. She had been in meetings with the Zelhari leadership, trying to arrange humanity's future. The Zelhari High Command has made their decision, she announced. They're offering us a deal. What kind of deal? Marcus asked. Protected status. They'll make sure no hostile species attacks us. In return, we agree to stay in our own region of space. No expansion beyond 50 light-years from Earth. And if we refuse? Sarah's face was grim. They unite the entire galaxy against us, every species working together to contain the human threat. Marcus closed his eyes. He was tired, and the weight of his species' future was heavy on his shoulders. What do you think? Sarah asked him. I think we need time, Marcus said slowly. Time to grow stronger. Time to understand what we are. Time to find our place in the galaxy. The containment gives us that time, Kesara said. 50 light-years is a lot of space. Your species can grow and learn without threatening others. For now, Sarah said. But what about the future? What happens when we outgrow 50 light-years? That's a problem for future generations, Marcus said. Right now, we just need to survive. Dr. Rodriguez checked her medical scanner. Speaking of survival, your condition is stabilizing. The Zelhari medications are working better than I expected. How long do I have? Maybe a year, possibly 2 if we're lucky. Marcus nodded. It was more time than he had hoped for. Enough to see how this all turns out. Kesara stood to leave. The Zelhari ships would depart within the hour. Before I go, I want to give you something. She held out a small crystal. It glowed with soft blue light. What is it? A memory crystal. It contains the complete history of my family's armor. Its victories, its defeats, everything it learned in 1,000 years of battle. Why give this to me? Because you're the only warrior who ever defeated it. By our laws, that makes you its inheritor. Marcus took the crystal carefully. It was warm to the touch, and seemed to pulse with its own heartbeat. There's something else, Kesara said quietly. I've convinced the High Command to make an exception to the quarantine. What exception? You. If you want, you can come with us. See the galaxy. Learn about the civilizations out there. Marcus looked surprised. But I'm dangerous to your people. Only through direct contact. With proper protective gear, you could travel safely. And your unique perspective would be valuable. Sarah looked worried. Marcus, you're too sick to travel. Maybe, but I'm dying anyway. He looked at the crystal in his hands, then at Kesara. Would I be like an ambassador? More like a teacher, helping other species understand humanity, preparing them for the day when the quarantine ends and your people spread to the stars. Marcus thought about it. He could stay here, in the colony where he was born, and die quietly. Or he could see wonders beyond imagination and help shape humanity's future in the galaxy. I'll need time to decide. Of course, we'll be in orbit for another day. After Kesara left, Marcus sat alone with Sarah and Dr. Rodriguez. The 3 humans watched the alien ships through the window. So, we're the monsters of the galaxy now? Sarah said. No, Marcus corrected gently. We're the survivors. We're the species that refused to give up, no matter what tried to kill us. And now we're too dangerous to make friends. For now. But that will change. Someday, the galaxy will be ready for us. And we'll be ready for the galaxy. Rodriguez smiled. Humanity? Fuck yeah. Marcus laughed, despite his pain. Humanity? Fuck yeah. Outside the window, the first Selhari ship began to rise into the sky. Soon, the aliens would be gone, and humanity would be alone again. But not the same as before. Now they knew what they were. Now they knew their place in the universe. The apex predators who didn't know they were apex predators had finally learned the truth. And the galaxy would never be the same.